Dun. Good morning. Welcome to Sunday Morning Coffee, number 42. I think it's 42. Yes, today we have lots of different things to show you, and it's also Partisan in the Cloud. Richard Lawrence is doing his intro as well, competing, but he'll only be a few minutes. So I will go more into Partisan in the Cloud in a few minutes so that people that want to watch that can then go here. But you're not allowed to go. If you watch Richard Lawrence's video, you have to keep this tab open so my numbers don't go down. Just, I won't know. So just, so morning. It has been a week. It's definitely been a week. Oh yeah, the usual, if you can thumb up the video, that will help, and just post a woohoo or something in the social media page, because it's been worse than usual, like super bad, trying to get people to find it today. Currently on 13 people, which I appreciate all of you, but yeah, we normally have a lot more. I want to do a quick recap of what Sunday Morning Coffee is, and if you're new to it today, that's also a handy time. Hopefully we'll get some of those partisanos over, because normally right now the doors would be opening, be going, they're coming, they're going to come and buy things, yay! Which they're not, because I'm at home now. But yeah, we'll go into that. So Sunday Morning Coffee, I began 42 weeks ago. And mostly before that, the idea of doing any sort of video was absolutely terrifying. So if you do scroll back from the channel, you'll see that I did... What is that happening there? No. You'll see that I did used to do videos, but they were always quite short, pre-recorded. And as awkward as they are, I had spent the entire day on them, and it was awful. It was just a massive... it just became this huge mental block to do videos, basically, because I had to. It's the looking at your own face thing. So I'd do a video, then I'd have to keep recording it, and I'd do re-records like for so long just to get a few minutes of hello, this is the thing that I have launched. Because there's that whole, I think it's pretty standard for people where you go, my stupid face and my stupid voice, and I paused there, and that's not good. So I always wanted, so for years I wanted to do more on the YouTubes, but I just couldn't justify it because it'd take up so much time for me to get something that was mediocre, and it takes so much energy as well. So I'd get into a state by the end of it. I'd just be trying to do like a 10-minute hello. By the end of it, I'd like, between all my cuts, I'd just be going, why is this not working? Why have I got a stupid face? Hello, welcome to the, and it'd just be like, in terms of use of my time, not good. But I always wanted to. So once I started using live videos on Facebook last year, I started to use it a lot more, and thought this is quite cool actually, because it's live. It doesn't matter if I stumble, and it means that, I don't know, just a lot of the pressure's taken off on a live video. So I started Sunday Morning Coffee to make sure that I got some sort of routine, and every Sunday just to come along, chat. No specific, well, there's a general agenda of telling you about what's been going on, but nothing that has to be really rigid sort of thing. And having that relaxed sort of environment, and there's been a good chunk of you coming through as well, which is ace. It's made it so much easier for me to do these. And it means that when I do things like podcasts, interviews, that used to be such a big deal, and now it's just not. It still gets me a bit wound up, but it used to be an absolute nightmare. And I used to cancel interviews all the time. There's so many I arranged and then cancelled because I just couldn't deal with it. So from doing this, it's actually ace. I'm not quite, stage queen yet or anything, but I'm doing a lot better. So I hope that you get something from this, which I'm sure you do because you keep turning up. But it's actually a bit about what I get from it too, and it helps. And like extra now, it helps me because I get to chat out loud to people which obviously I'm not seeing any humans at the moment, so that's super excellent. So yeah, that was just a bit of a background in case you're like, why is this woman here every week? Why does she not have any like specific agenda that she's going to talk about? I've had a bit of a downer this week in various terms. Part of it was like, nobody likes my Sunday morning coffee because it's rubbish. And I was getting stressed about it, and then started thinking more of what I have to do to get it better. And I was like, Annie, that's not the point. There's loads I could do. I could make it I could put a green screen and do all this stuff. And I usually get well, not loads, but now and again I'll get a feedback of all these technical ways I can improve it. But I know that would work, but it also makes it become a thing in my head again. And it is 10 o'clock on a Sunday, and that currently I get up early, play Animal Crossing, look at the news, see my pigs, and then go, it's 10 o'clock. So I never want it to be anything that I have to really, really prepare for and make a big deal, because it is on a Sunday morning, and I am trying to take time off and all that sort of stuff. I was seeing if anybody... Hello, everybody who has came along. This is excellent. Oh, thank you for saying I'm a pro, Mr. Guy. Yeah, there was a really good bloop. There was a really good article that Anjali shared about doing Zoom conferences, and that was quite good as well. Maybe she will put the link there. I can't remember what point I was getting to about that either. Oh yeah, it was about how you've got all these screens and you're supposed to be looking at everybody, but you just kind of look at your own face and look at your own face talking and going, oh, my face does all that. Whereas when you're just talking to people in person, you don't have a mirror there, just making sure you look all right. And it's a bit like that with this. So I do try to look just at the camera. I can see in my peripherals that I'm all here. Yes, we do have new releases. I have very curly hair too. Woo! And we have lots of viewers. Hello. This might mean that Lawrence has sent some people over. So yes, good morning. It is Sunday. It is 10 o'clock. It is 7 past 10, and it's coffee time. So, Partisan in the Cloud, I believe it's safe to mention. Safe now. With Lawrence on channel 2, I'm on channel 3, has put his announcement. The doors are open at Partisan and people are coming in. Yeah, this is normally Partisan, which I love. It's one of my favourite shows. And one of the organisers, Lawrence, is the absolute best. I don't know if you'll watch this, so I think he's working. So I could get away with saying anything. I was going to put extra partisan anecdotes. Before I get into my partisan anecdotes, I've got some really cool stuff to show you today. So you got to stick around. But as always, I put them near the end, so you've got to listen to my rambles. I've got some metal too, so that's cool. Yes, so Partisan, I believe, I don't know how long I've been going to Partisan, 4 years maybe? Partisan and the other Partisan. It's notoriously difficult to get into, and I've never said this out loud. I was thinking about this anecdote this morning and how I'm a terrible person, but so I figured that I would message. I do get distracted by here. I will read you though. Yeah, I'm the worst, basically. So when I was new to shows, it was so, and it still is really hard for a lot of people, new companies, to get into trade shows because they're just so booked up and the queues are long and that sort of thing. And you've also got to try and win people over as to why you should be at their show. So I got quite lucky at getting into some of the ones I really wanted to. Part of what I used to do was to go to the show when I wasn't trading and do a bit of a schmooze. So try and find the person that I need to schmooze, because it's so much easier just to get people in person and say, hello, I really want to trade, but there's no space. But now you have a face to this email address, so please, maybe next time. As well as that, so most of the shows I got into ended up being somebody dropped out even as much as in the morning, and I ran to get my spot. Because once you kind of get into a show, you're generally in, unless it's Partisan. So years and years ago, I went to a Partisan and I allocated that the Lawrence was the person to schmooze, and I tried really hard to schmooze him, and he didn't seem like interested at all. this is so shameful. So and I'd be like, hello, yes, I sell all these things. Let's just mention that into general conversation, and perhaps next time you get a dropout, you might think of me. But he just wasn't taking any of it. I was like, damn this guy, why is he so impenetrable? I need to get into this show. This is when it was Callum Hall? Yeah. So in my strong what I do when I make really solid first impressions on people, I was like, who is this guy? How dare he not want me at this show? It actually turns out Lawrence is one of the nicest people in the world ever. And now one of my absolute favourite people in the War Games land too. So yeah, my first impressions suck sometimes. So I don't know how I got in. Oh yeah, somebody dropped out. I think it was on a Thursday or something. So I managed to get 6 foot. So I was like, yes, maybe it did work, maybe. But I think it was because I was the only person that the day before the show that was willing to pack all the stuff up. And then I thought, yeah, I'm into Partisan. And then I wasn't. I was only in for that one time because they had to let back whoever had dropped out. And at the time, I thought that sucked. I was like, God damn it, how am I supposed to get into this show? But obviously, whoever had dropped out that year, maybe they have a valid reason, family problems or something. And normally, if that happens, you're kind of screwed. So there's been shows I've gone to, and I've really not wanted to go, or something's been up, but you can't drop out, because if you drop out, it's all over. You're back in the bottom of that list. So it's actually cool, because it meant that whoever had dropped out, I hadn't nicked their space. They were able to come back. But at the time, I was like, for God's sake, I want to get into Partisan. And then they said, yeah, you're not into other Partisan either. It's a different show. I'm like, I just want to get into this show. So it's taken me a little while, and it's taken me a little while to get into all the Partisans and to get 12 feet at the Partisans. So I don't know why I was rambling. The perils of trying to get into a trade show when you're a newbie, and me assuming that the Partisan people were the worst when they're actually the best. So thanks for letting me in on my little 6 foot, and then me trying to go in, I demand 12 foot, and I demand to be at this other show too. No, Annie, there isn't any space. Okay, maybe next time. So I do go to both Partisans now. I was also very ill at one of them and had to drop out, and it was awesome because they weren't the worst. It was just really nice. So yeah, thank you, Partisan people. It's Lawrence and Trix, is it? Richard? But I mostly know Lawrence, don't really know Richard. Sorry, come and chat to the next Partisan. So yes, it's a show I love. I really liked Kellum Hall, but it was a nightmare for traders. And the new venue is obviously ace. So right now, I'd say I'd normally be in a flood of people who've come through the door, but they don't, because they just come in and then they do a bit of a wander. So right now would be me going, nobody's going to buy anything. Why aren't they coming to my stand? That one came, but then they left again. It's going to be a disaster, which is every single show. Every show I have this panic when no one's going to buy anything. What do we have? No, yes, it's very sad. It's not happening. Felicity, are you the person who keeps asking about the goblin heads? Because I actually have an answer, but I forgot to mention it. Hello, Rob. Rob is Dreadquill, who has got lots. He has painted loads of cool stuff, and they're right there. I'm going to show them off today. I appreciate how little flash there is on your minis. Yes. Excellent. I like it when people notice this. I've also wanted to do a small educational on differences between flash, mold lines, feeds, and vents, which I shall. Felicity, I don't have the goblin heads, and Ristle doesn't have the goblin heads, and I don't know if he sold them to anyone. But if you pester Ristle on Twitter, he might be able to find you something if he's got it around. But yeah, pester him. But I was going to pester to see if I can grab some off him, actually, because he's about to ship me some greens. So maybe he's got them in a sock or something. But they will be in existence somewhere, so that's good. The new venue is new. Well, it's not new anymore, but it's Newark, right? Not Racecourse. what is it? Event Showground, Newark Showground. I'm sad I never went to the Partisan. Is it like Partisan in the Park or something they did one year, or it was outside? I love that. That'd be nice. What was I about to say? Yes. So I've got a bone to pick with Guy Bowers. I don't know if he's still here. Guy, for his. I was reading the very excellent review of our miniatures and war games, soldiers and strategy. And I noticed the guy had said there's a very little bit of flash around the base. I was like, how dare you? There is not. And then I read a few other reviews about other excellent minis, and he'd said the same. So I thought that's a good idea to inform people of the differences, because it is not flash. You're wrong. How daring of me. I've taken down you magazine guys. No, I'm just going to yell at Guy, like when I said, they're not 27mm to the eyes, Guy. This is crazy. But it's quite an interesting thing, because I didn't know. I only know now because I deal in it, so it's quite interesting. I will, one moment. Wait, Guy. So, on a miniature, a lot of people say flash or mould slip when it's not. So when a model, this is where any casters watch and be like, oh, Annie, you've got it wrong. So we're talking metal here specifically. So your mini goes in, it gets you two sides like that, and it squish it in, and then it spins. This is my high advanced what happens in the casting process. So read the side. So mold lined, you'll get that ridge you got to. That's because there's a few different reasons why you could get mold lines. Partly is because the mold makers aren't very good. Sometimes it's just unavoidable due to the way that the model's made. So you'll notice most of our things do not have mold. Well, they have very faint mold lines because it's almost a guarantee that you're going to get a tiny little mold line. If you've got a chunk of a mold line, there's a problem going on, basically. Oh, my voice has gone strange. But it's not usually the end of the world, just before I start dobbing on everyone. But it's generally not great if you've got a mold line, a big chunky, sort of detail ruining mold lines anyway. So I'm trying to, I don't know if you can see, so there's like a bit of a line down the back of this horse. That's quite a standard, can't quite see because of the light. But yeah, the sort of thing where you just get the knife across or a little bit of file, it's fine. So yeah, that's that happening. If it's a big chunk, it could mean that the parts aren't quite lining up, which means they've got some of the settings wrong on the casting, or the heat or the temperature wrong. There's loads of things like that. So if there's a big old slip, well, it's not a slip, but it's like a misalignment rather than a slip, because they're so tense, they can't slip, but they can be put wrong. And that could be all sorts of reasons. Flash is another similar sort of thing with the same sort of things. It's basically so a line, you get your little halo bit. That means that there's been an issue with I think it's the temperature. I don't know. But yeah, flash is generally means there's been a bit of an error, and that's not a good thing. It's not something you go, oh, well, you normally get a bit of flash. If it's cast really well, you shouldn't get any flash. You may, even if you're awesome, you may get tiny bits in maybe some areas like you see like there, because it might be unavoidable, but the sort of thing where you can just knife it out. Well, I don't have it because I am excellent. So that's flash and mold lines. So yeah, mold lines vary in their hugeness, but generally, yeah, you're never going to get, well, unless you're casting a very small amount of models, spending whole loads of time on it, you'll have 0 mold lines. But yeah, so you always get a little bit of a mold line. It's absolutely fine. It's just part of the process. You go boop boop. And anything really bad is not good. Anything bad is not good. And then what else you get? So my minis are awesome for this because my casters are the best. You also get vents and feeds. So this is me trying to use my I'm not a caster. So a vent is where you move when you put the metal goes into this mini like that. So in the mold there'll be a hollow this, and then there'll be the center where all the metal gets poured, and it then it goes. So when you spin something really fast, like a plate with paint on, and it all goes out to the side. It's kind of like that, but with molten metal. So the feed has got to go into it, and then sometimes you need to cut a vent which comes out the other side, especially if you've got an area that you absolutely have to fill. Because if it's only filled a little bit, for example, you'd get like this bit here wouldn't cast and it'd all be soft. There'd be this weird little blobular end where it hasn't fully filled the mould. So a vent is to make sure it goes all the way through. My casters are so cool, and they pretty much trim all the vents and feeds, and so this is an example of just how I get a model. Boom. But depending on the manufacturer, some will have a load of vents and feeds basically sticking off. They don't affect the model. You just clip them off and they're fine. It's just a bit annoying, and I'm a bit on my high horse. That I don't tend to have them, but I will tend to. Not this model. So what Guy is referring to is I forgot. These don't actually have any. What Guy is referring to when there's reviews, when he talks about there being flash on the base, that's actually just a bit of the vent. So there'll be a little bit cut off, and it means it just helps them. They sort of snap that bit off there. So it's all intentional. So it's not actually an error. There's supposed to be that little bit. But obviously, when you're casting loads of minis, they're not going to snip or they're not going to file every single bit. So yeah, when there's a bit of flash on the base, it isn't flash. I'm not just talking about me. There's a few. So you get that little like snippy bit at the bottom. It's just where it's been snipped off. So that's your learning. You've learnt for today, which means you can do whatever you like for the rest of the day after this. What have I missed in the commentos? Bum, bum, bum. I hope you appreciate that, Guy. I've just blown your mind. So you actually don't need to mention it. So when you say there's just a bit of flash on the base, you don't need to say there's a bit of feed on the base. It just is. So just say the castings are excellent. What have we got there? Wish I could figure out how to order stuff online. I need items from Femris and Annie. Oh, if you send me an email or a message after this, I'm sure I can try and do a tutorial with you. Oh. So redacted metal models are like that because they don't take the time to clear them all. It entirely depends on whatever the caster's process is. This is where I get death threats from my door. It's a mixture. It's a total mixture. It's down to cost effectiveness too. So as far as I know, I use the most expensive casters out there. It is expensive, but they do all of that. So I think it's totally worth it for getting the best ever. The best ever models, basically. So I don't mind, and I'm on a smaller level, and it sounds really pretentious, but I'm not all about the money. I like money to pay my bills and live, but I would rather make less money and have better product. And when you're a bigger company, such as one that's a PLC, especially when you've got to make your money for the shareholders, then they would say, why are you paying this much per cast when you could be paying this much? Because it's obviously labour to get people to trim them all. Whereas you can just crank it all up and ship them out, you're going to make way more money. And when you're on that larger scale, that makes a huge amount of difference in money. So it's things like that. So we use, like the metal we use is one of the highest qualities as well. Which means, I think, when I've chatted to some people, our models can cost me to make twice as much, if not more, as other companies. So that is a big difference when you imagine it's not just one, which is, that's not a huge amount of money difference, but when you cast in hundreds, that bill suddenly is enormous. But I like to make minis that I'm really, really proud of, and I get it, but I also, yeah. So I've had casters before that have been cheaper and the quality's not been as good, and I've just not been a fan. I don't know if we're rambling on now, but yeah, it's just down to cost and things like that. So occasionally I do think, does anyone notice that I spend loads of money on all my models? Because when I get grumpy when people ask for free stuff all the time, and I'm like, they don't understand. And there is this mentality that minis cost us nothing, that they're like 30p a model, and they totally aren't. So if an order goes missing, or if someone wants some sponsorship that costs me quite a bit of money, so it's not them getting free things, it's me buying them things, if that makes any sense. Another part of cost is whether you have in-house casting as well, which has always got bonuses and non-bonuses. Thank you very much for talking about how cool my models are. I have noticed quite an increase in people saying how nice they are, and I've had that conversation with a couple of companies, different board games companies, where we've said before, it's like, well, nobody's said that they're bad, but then if people, like, not me, but if you're using a bad caster, basically, because there's some really bad models that are really like, but if you're using one like that, okay, you might not get tons of emails saying your casting sucks, but people get it and then they go, and they just don't buy it again. Whereas to have the active, positive, your casting is so good, then that's really cool. So I'm super happy that people do notice that I've put in the time. There's like it's not just the money, it's the time to find a good caster, to work through all the issues, things with the caster. So sometimes a particular model can be a bit of a nightmare to cast just because of how it's shaped. And some of the stuff's been quite a challenge. So in the home front, there's the nurse lady who's put a nice little cold compress on the down soldier. And when I first saw that, I thought, oh Lord, how are you gonna get that as one piece? I'm gonna have to send this back to the caster. And I was at a trade show and I saw two other companies and showed them it was the Mastercast I had, so that had worked. And I showed them that, and they both laughed and went, "Yeah, that's not going to work ever." So, oh, okay, we'll see anyway. We've cast hundreds of them, and they're excellent. But it just means it's down to like how good your mold maker is as well, and they're very strange mold makers and casters, because it's this whole thing where nobody wants to say they just can't do it. It can't be done, rather than I personally can't do it. So if you put a bunch of different casters and mold makers in a room, it'd be a nightmare, because they'll all be like that. So there's lots of things I thought couldn't be done before, but it turns out they can be. But I have really, really good mold makers and casters that can just do magic, which is amazing. So that is cool. That's how we get some of these in one piece that other people just would not be able to. I'll just go through there. I won't mention anyone by name. But yeah, then I moved. I had a lot of problems with resin in the past as well. And then when I started using these casters for resin, it just utterly made such a difference. I was getting to the point where I just didn't want anything to do with resin anymore. And then they gave me a list of the people they did the resin for. And I'm like, oh, they do really, really good resin. So one of them is Atlantis Miniatures. They are so good. So that made me go, oh, okay. So now I have an excellent resin casters and mold makers. We're doing loads more resin too, so that's really cool. Because there were errors in resin, or things that I didn't think could be done, or they'd have to be done this way, or the quality wouldn't be so good. And it's not that case at all. If you get someone who's excellent, you can get excellent stuff. So I'm so excited. I've got some really lovely new Restocks things to show you. Not today, I'm afraid, with those. There's I've got some Restocks stuff that's just been moulded, and I will be getting these samples next week, and they're so cute. And then there's something he's just sculpted for me, which is really, really, really cute. It's so cute. But then I'm gonna wait, and I'm just gonna bam them on you when I've got them in resin. They are the sweetest things, and you'll need all of them. With multi-part minis, like we mentioned before, that's partly down to the sculptor and partly down to the mold maker. It's a bit of a balancing act on what you can get. So those particular models you mentioned, I know exactly what you mean because I love them and I've got them all, but they are a nightmare to assemble. And that'll be how they're laid out in the mold. So you probably, if you were to get them, this is where Andy's watching and starts showing, you probably could sort of fix them up and remold them in less pieces, but it might be harder to cast. There's all sorts of things like that. So when I got my ghouls made by the same sculptor, I was like, they're going to be one piece. I'm not gluing arms on. And I hate gluing metal to metal. So it's one of the reasons that we have so many single piece models. Because I kind of make the models that I want to make, what I would want to buy, basically. So all of that is no single arms. I've got a single arm on the Hell figure, but the whole rest of it is one piece. Like if that was some other companies, it'd be about 20 pieces. So I was pretty chuffed with that. What have get inside? Yeah, especially small metal to metal. So where we do have joins, I like to make it so it's quite clear where things go. Bristol's working on some lovely stuff for us. And that's in my clearing up day. Having a clearing up day. A few people have been getting confused. So Bristol's Extraordinary Market is no more as of 2 years now? About 2 years. A bit more than 2 years. But I bought the majority of the range, and I still hire Ristal basically. So he sculpts. We've got all his, most of his earlier sculpts. Fenris has got a chunk as well, so check him out. He's got a lot of the bigger stuff and with the smaller stuff. He's got some of the bases too. So yeah, don't know why I'm pointing at the text. And then we've been working with Restocks to get lots more sculpts. So everything from the last sort of couple of years that we've brought out that is new, Bristol's sculpted, but it's all ours. So it's Bad Squid Scenics. So yeah, we make it, we distribute it. If you're a shop, you want it in your shop, let me know and you get it in your shop. But sculpted by Bristol. And I guess some companies had kind of erased the Bristol part. And be like, these are ours now. But I like mentioning Bristol because he's ace. And yeah, he's as much a part of it. It's like how I like mentioning all the sculptors and painters because it wouldn't happen if it wasn't for them. A lot of Bristol's stuff too is him just coming up with some crazy ideas and then me buying it. So, yeah, the latest is just, I can't wait to show you. To see what's in there, and if I can ban anybody from the chat, which I can do that. Just a moment. Think I can do. Oh no, wait. Sorry, got some grotty comments there. I was just trying to figure out how to kill them. I don't know if I have. Doll. Okay, I'll just have to wait. That's the joy of being on the YouTubes. Oh, hang on. So I can put user in time prison, I think. Yes, that's me putting users in time prison, so thank you. Woo! That's cool. You can't do that on Facebook, so yeah. What we get? Thank you. That's handy. Where are we? Right, sweet. Send out a squad. YouTube, you get more like trolls and bots and all that. It's fine. It's just like, hang on a moment. What else have I got? You've got some cool stuff to show you, but again, gotta wait. Maybe that's what he was talking about. He was like, "Oh, I can't wait to see this new painted terrain." So, where are we on? I got some restocks this week. I got my North Star plastics. Yes. Bless them. I absolutely love them as well. I've been waiting on this plastic order for a million years, because they had to furlough everyone almost instantly. So it was just Nick in working 7 days a week. So I was a bit like, kind of want my trade order, but I don't want to be bothered because I know you're not getting any sleep. But I've got it now. So my restock was a big chunk of plastic boxes. So I'll put that on the website today, actually. So I haven't uploaded the restock because I need to check, because one of you, I don't know if you watch, but one of you asked for loads of specific stuff. So I need to go through, check which ones are those and sort that out with you. Woo. So I've got the plastics. I've got a Games Grass order coming in on Monday. I've got live stock on the website, but at some point during my last update, I totally messed up the live stock numbers. So there's a few which aren't as good as they are. So when they all come in next week, I'll get that updated. And I got all the flowers and stuff coming too. So they're the ones everyone wants. And the aliens. I basically phoned the distributor for them and said, I need all your flowers and aliens, please. Needs more armoured animals like Bushidos. That is true. We definitely need more. So it's good. 55 people. It's mayhem. So yeah, we've got the stocks in. North Star are doing a thing where they've got Renedra have been making loads of those little mask clip things. So you put the face mask on, and then they're like little notched, so you don't. They're like ear protectors, because they're because they are plastic. They can just churn out. So I believe they've been making thousands, probably tens of thousands, which is ace because they've got facilities to do it. So now their demand's sort of slowed down. They've given loads to North Star, so North Star are just putting them out with the orders. So I just thought I'd mention that because it's really cool. And they will be sending me some next week because with the glasses as well, it's all a bit too much. It's ear overload, so that's kind of cool. Good luck, Broch Street, on your trying to do livestock on a website. It's all fun. And yes, North Star are wicked. They're in my super good people book. So yeah, one day, well, one day I'll do my autobiography on all the bad people and his enemy list. But so people I don't like, I tend to just not mention because that's professional. But when people are super excellent, I like to give them extra thumbs up because they are the best. And there are lots of really lovely people in here. So yeah. Morning, everybody who has come along. It's very appreciated. Well, I guess I should show you some stuff. This is where Danny's Tome of the Damned. One day I'll just come on in a mood. I'll be like, and you, and you, and you. I always think of the Father Ted when he gets the golden cleric. I think about that so much. And now on to the lions. Which is a shame that Glenna is the worst, but still appreciate his comedy shows. A Book of Grudges. There will be an autumn restock. There's a restock basically everything. Because I didn't know what was going on with my stock levels, just ordered everything. Yay! That's excellent. Yes. Woo. Right. So, what's the best way to show things? I'm always doing that. I know. Yeah, I shouldn't. That's so annoying that I got banned for a Father Ted thing, whilst Graham Linen's allowed to just say all the terrible things. Birdcasters, picture it. Nottingham. The year was 2020. No, it wasn't. It was 2017. So, these are painted. You've all been waiting. These are painted by Dreadquill, who is Rob in the comments. Thank you very much, Rob. You've unfortunately painted these too nice, which means that you're going to get all the painting work from now on, and you'll never be free. So this was part of the Kickstarter, but they'll be out straight afterwards. So, again, I will show you the proper photos, because the lighting's not the best, but this is, so what I was saying about excellent casters, apart from the cockerel on top, come on, apart from the cockerel on top, it's all one piece, and then I think Rob can confirm it fits on quite nicely, if it'll ever, it's because it tries to focus on my face. I did consider taking the camera off. I could take the camera off, actually. It just means you'll see the mess. Let's have a look. One moment. And then I'll... So yeah, one piece is... that one chunk. Again, Ristol sent me in it. I was like, oh, those casters are not going to be happy with Ristol. And they do it. So that's really cool. I'm just arranging these so then I can move the camera down rather than doing all this. Excuse the mess in the background. I've got 2 separate kits. I'm just laying them out for you. Oh my lord. Anyone who makes a cockerel pun has to buy... I've decided 2 sets now. You've got to buy 2 sets of everything. Any plans for female crusaders? Oh yes. There's just so many plans and there's not enough money. Oh yeah, so the government have been trying to get government help at the moment, and it's fun. Yesterday they went, we've assessed it and we've decided you're eligible for this 20p. Right, now I'll just separate these into 2. I forget which is which. So they're both painted up by Mr. Rob. I believe that goes with that. That goes with that. That goes with that. So I can show you the 2 separate pieces. Oh. And there's a little bag of chickens. There they are. Yes. So the tension's building up now. What is she going to be showing us? They're so nice, Rob. Absolutely love these. They make me super happy. I've got some little chickens. I'm just going to blue tack them in a little nest. So there was a point, I think it was last year, when I went on an undead spree with Ristol, when we released all like the monster nests and skeletons and all this, because I was watching Game of Thrones and I was like, Army of the Dead. now we're on a cutesy mode. There's loads of really cutesy things. It's not too much mess because most of the mess is over there, but I was just checking there's nothing dodgy in the background. Right, so first up, there's so much stuff on the floor. I'm going. Da-da-da. Oh Lord. Right. Oh no, the mess. Right, will it work? Come on, autofocus. That's... So I think it'll let me move. This is my shaky hand, as professional as you can expect. So there's the huge bit. Oh, the light's not as good here. This is a bugger. Come on. Oh no, this is the small mess. So that's no worries. It's the shrink. Army of the Cutesy Dead. Come on, camera, let them see the things. It does suck at autofocus. Now, if I do that. Ooh. There we go. If only I could get that not shaky. I can prep that for next time. Oh, the blur. Well, this sucks. Sorry about that. It kind of worked. I've got the illusion of being tidy, and then there's junk in the background. So that's that, anyway. And then there's... Yeah, this isn't working. It's because all the lights on the other side. Let me just... Woo. There I am. That's me. Let's try that again. Sorry about that. Yeah, I keep thinking I need to sort this room out and then not. So with that big chunk, you get like Blair Witch Project. You get these. Yeah, and it's not gonna. I know what I'll do. I'm getting there. This is the professionalism that you love from Bad Squiddo. So we've got. I just don't know why it's not focusing. Oh, there we are. So there's one bit. The lighting's not on its normal blare because I'm normally getting a big blur in my face. Whoop. So there you get little fence parts. You get this. Look at those eggs. He's painted the eggs so good. Morning, Bob. You get these little bits. That might actually go with the beer kit. I can't remember. I think they're potatoes. Yeah, this does suck for showing off models. Weirdly, it was better when I had my phone for that. So don't worry, there will be some more in-depth pictures. So that. It's the light. I don't have much light going on. Ooh. Not my face. Ah. So that's some grapes and more potatoes, is it? Oh yeah, so we've crossed into into the beer making kit because they're on the same bit. There's two little chicks. Look at them. Woo. I'll figure this out. That works. It's because you're not supposed to be moving about. To get that, you also get the two ticks are blue tacked in, so you can do what you like with them. And then there's Mama Hen there. Come on, show them. It's so frustrating. So I haven't been showing stuff off as much because it's frustrating trying to get the camera to pick it up. There we are. So there's a Mama Hen on her eggs. It's just my face. Stop focusing on my face. These I've got some very good pictures of anyway, but it's the there we are. So that's so frustrating. So that's the distillery bit. Come on, show them, focus on it. I think it's because I move. Dang it. So yeah, I won't do this for 10 minutes because you'll be as enraged as I am. Look at that, look how lovely that is when it's finally in focus and not just going in and out of focus. So good. They're so lovely, Rob. Like, the pictures were ace, and then they arrived, and I'm just like, ah! So I got those last night, opened them up last night. When I was on the phone to my mum, so I was doing an unboxing and talking to mum, going, oh, these are good. So yeah, the beer kit you can use, well, it's not just beer, it's general alcohol. You can use it for all sorts of stuff. I love the idea of a wizards. We had it painted up a bit brighter, so you could get ideas for doing wizardy stuffs. And the chicken coop is just the best. There's also an extra pack of chickens, so you can add more chickens about. But yeah. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah, I actually don't have many lights on. I've normally got a big glare. So yeah, sorry about that. Oh yeah, remember to wash your resin before painting, folks. Poor Rob. Yes, do wash your resin, please. I did it when I painted Dr. Carrot. I was being lazy and I was like, I won't need to. No, mistakes have been made. This very quick task has now ruined. I believe that's most of what I got. It's been 47 minutes and there's over 50 of you. Yes, thanks for coming along. It gives me a good boost to know people don't hate the show. They're actually coming along. Or you just click it and walk away, but that's fine because I don't know. Still got the numbers. So next week, I will be getting all the resin, all the MDF from Sarissa. Hopefully, I was very late ordering it with them, and then I phoned them and had to do a, "Hey Steve, you know how I forgot to order all of the trucks and stuff. Could you maybe speed me up a little bit?" So yeah, I think he's doing that. So he said they should be ready pretty quickly. So that means I can pack all of the big Kickstarters up. Oh yeah, if you weren't here earlier, if you can click the like button on there, it just helps the algorithms and all that stuff. I'm super happy. So yeah, all the MDF's coming. And then I can paint some trucks myself. That'd be cool. I'm definitely going to do one of my terrible videos where I what's that word? Where I terribly assemble something. And that's probably why they didn't give me a kit for the Kickstarter. They didn't give me a kit. They just gave me all 4 assembled ones. I think it was to stop me doing a massive disservice, like my tractor video where I'm going, hey, and then about halfway through I go, oh, it's color coded, no way. So they were watching it, going, oh no. But it means that my my videos, they show that I make the mistakes, so you don't have to. There's no like Blue Peter. And here's one I made earlier. It's just me going, no, I've glued the MDF to my hand and the other bit. I don't know if that's a piece because I chopped it out before I had to. So yeah, I'll do one of those, no doubt. And I can put my new riders and stuff in there too. What am I getting from Sarissa? I'm getting trucks. It's the Matador trucks of different types. And I'm getting a few of the Maze blast bunkers, not tons, just a few, and small tractors, more searchlights. I think that's it. I might be adding more at some point too. And they've all got my logo on. Yes. God, no, I'm not doing any painting tutorials. A lot of the time it's because my setup's bad or something. I tried to do one a while ago, but I find it really hard when there's a camera there to make sure things are on camera and paint them. But assembling was fun, so I'll definitely do some more assembly videos. Yes, we have new releases. I know I say every Sunday, maybe I'll release the thing now. I actually was, I was all ready to release them on Friday. And then one of my neighbours got me some cheese. So it was quick, get back, I need to deliver this cheese to you. So I had to stop mid photoshopping. I was just sorting the graphics out for the new releases. And I said, I'll come when I've finished. And then I was like, I really want that cheese. So I left. So I need to just finish cutting out with them, and then I've got 2 brand new releases. I couldn't find them when I was rushing home, so I haven't got them to show you here. But yeah, it's the yes, the focus is not quite right here. It's the pumpkins and the books and book holders. I've tried to take some photos of the book holders that show them off because I found they're part of the older Restocks range. But I found the book holder photos didn't do them as much justice because they're so lovely, but you kind of need to see them from both angles, so or from various angles. So I need to get that sort of collage together for you. I know, the first yawn. So they'll be out. Yes, that's my goal. They'll be out today, and a whatchamacall newsletter. I went to start a newsletter and yeah, I thought I should wait till I get my new releases out. So yeah, I'll put a newsletter up for you too, because I'm nice like that. Mostly just going to be in the house today and do a bit of chilled computer work. My desk is actually clear, which is why there's stuff all on the floor. Because some point last week I went, I need the desk. So I think I will sit here. I've been having a bit of a like Tina Turner, classic Madonna sort of music list. So I think I might do that. I was doing my playlist. I'm doing my playlist, my mailing list. Boom. I'm good today. I've had. I just realised we're running late, nearly on an hour. But my quick Annie update. I'm excellent the last couple of days, but I've had a very tough week with the old brain and all that sort of stuff. So again, I really appreciate it when you come along because it just makes the Sunday morning quite nice. That's all. And I've still got a bit of a fear now on YouTube that I can't get people over because the algorithms are so terrible on Facebook. So thank you very much. Thank you for your lovely messages. Now I'm going through the Kickstarters. So next week I'm just packing all those Kickstarters. And then I'll be free. And then I can do the next Kickstarter. I currently don't want to do another one. Not ever, but just not for a while. I kind of just want to do some releases. She says. And then next week it's like, guess what? We finished shipping and now it's time for a new massive Kickstarter. Oh, I've got those absolutely stunning fancy figures as well. I think they're going to get a standard release because they just need to be got. They're just so nice. Hooray! Yes, thank you for coming along. If you have not, if you can give this a thumb up. This is all generic, awful YouTube stuff, but it is actually useful. So if you do click subscribe, like and subscribe. So if you subscribe, it means that you get it come up on your feed basically when I've put new stuff up. I've got a new video to put up later today, which is showing off the books. already uploaded and it's set to private. That's how efficient I am. That's pretty mad. So you get that. If you click the bell next to it, it means you get a notification too. So if I do any impromptu impromptu lives or anything, you get a little notification. So yeah, you get all those. Do a subscribe, please. Look on the subscribble. Yes. And yeah, I really appreciate it. So yeah, doing the Kickstarter posts at the moment. I keep finding all the really nice little order messages you've put in, and I always go, ah! So thank you for that. I've had some lovely emails and stuff like that. So yeah, so thank you. I don't want to go. Check out the rest of Partisan in the Cloud. Even if you never go to Partisan, it's on the Partisan Wargaming Facebook. There's various companies that would have been at Partisan that are doing various offers. I'm not, because I'm the worst. I've just been so overwhelmed this week. It's ridiculous. I felt under pressure to do loads of stuff. But Lawrence let me get away with having this as my Partisan in the Cloud thing as well, so I don't have to do anything extra. Thanks, Lawrence. So yeah, I don't have any other cool stuff, but you should totally buy things because it will make my day. And if you wait till a bit in the afternoon, you'll see that there's the new pumpkins and books, and they're really cool. And they're in stock. They're ready to go, so they could ship Monday, and they're good. They are very good. And we're nicely restocked on everything too. I don't believe there's anything we're out of stock of at the moment in the range because the casters are being the best. Thank you so much, casting company. So there's a whole bunch of people. So I can't just thank one of them. So thank you, all of you wonderful people who cast and pack and ship my minis. You're the best. And thank you to Angeli, who has been doing some packing for me as well. Been having to do a dead drop of a trolley of minis and packaging in the park. and then she collects it and we go, goodbye. The goods have been dropped. So yes, thank you, Angeli. Oh yes, we can sort out your treats now as well. Woohoo! Right, this is me stalling. Still we go. Check out Partisan in the Cloud. Like and subscribe. Notification. Like me on everywhere. On the Instagram and the Twitters and the Facebooks and all of that. And see all the crap that I post. Woohoo! And thanks, Guy, for listening to my my tutorial. See you all about soon. Might do a little guinea pig feed for you later as well. Ooh. This is where I can't find the button to leave again. Goodbye.